So without further ado, from Open Source Connections, Atita Arora.
Thank you so much. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Atita Arora, and I work with Open Source Connections. And as Charlie already introduced, you must be wondering, why do we have to talk about a non-technical stuff in a technical conference like Haystack? So I would request you to kind of look around and see how many women do you see in the conference today. And as well, also consider looking at the schedule, how many women are speaking at the conference today. So I think you would get your answer as to why, despite having so many awesome women out there, why do we not have them in the conference or on the talking panel of the leading conferences? And which is why I feel like we need to address this topic. So I have provided link to our groups in the Relevance Slack and also on the LinkedIn. So if you are one of the awesome women in the search and the related field, please consider joining. And because I'm on stage, I would take the liberty to introduce myself to you guys, because I see a lot of new people out here. So I've been working in search domain since 2008, and I've contributed to a lot of open source projects. I love working in open source. I am part of the Women of Search community since it got created. So that was like last year. I have done masters in computer applications, and I've also done masters in strategic business management. I love studying. Personally, I'm mother of 2 boys, and if I get time, I love to travel and I love to cook. So I guess some of you would want to know, what is this group all about? Maybe it's a new thing for some of us here. So it's the group which was created by one of our colleague, Audrey, last year. And it's got 90 members on Slack currently. I haven't counted how many are there on the LinkedIn group. But I can say, being there since it got started, I can say it's a very safe and a non-judgmental place. You can bring in your ideas, you can bring in your concerns. Sometimes it's like very kind of, like the questions or the confusions about some things which are changing in the field. And we love to address that. We meet every first Wednesday of a month, and we call it a happy hour. It's quite therapeutic. And we love talking about cool ideas. And if you don't have any cool ideas, fear not. You can practice your public speaking skills and you can join in the call. So earlier this year, there was a Women of Search session also at the Haystack US. And as you can see from the happy pictures, we had quite a grand success. We discussed about some of the topics like leadership styles, what women look for when they kind of consider changing a job, or in the employers, so to say, what kind of mentorship and the sponsorship is that kind of, looked for, especially from the perspective of women. And it was pretty enriching. So I guess everyone here would agree, you can raise your hand if you don't, that diversification is super important. And for several reasons. There are some that I've listed on my slides here as well, that there is a lot of diversity in this world, and we cannot really harvest the potential in the technical domain or on the technical roles if we do not really include people from all social kind of backgrounds. So we need to access to the talent, we need to drive innovation, and as for the women, we are considered more analytical, we are multitasker, we manage stuff at home, we do our jobs, we do so many things together. So why not take advantage of that? And of course, there are several studies which have proven that it improves the work environment and also the productivity. So that says it all. But even though we realize it is important, there are still some challenges as to why this is not really happening and why we are talking today about it. So to begin with, obviously, bias is still alive and kicking. So when we talk about a role or a new job in a company, certainly we are a little more biased toward giving it to a man we engage with a men profile more than a women profile for some reason. And trust me, I mean, to prepare this talk, I have went through, I don't know how many white papers, how many blogs, and I've found that this was the same thing which people iterated over. Things are changing, but there still need to be more change to be brought across. Even if we manage to kind of, join the tech domain, retention and equitable promotion becomes another big issue, which is standing in our way, especially during pandemic, because we are considered as women the primary caregiver in the house. So obviously when kids were not going to the school and there's a pandemic all across the world, it was the women who chose to sit at home. A lot of my friends lost their jobs during this time. And that's how it is at the moment. Then it is one of our problems. Maybe as one of my colleague here spoke about that we suffer with imposter syndrome. And I think this is not a new term for a lot of us here, that when we are given an important position or accountable position, we tend to undermine ourselves, we undervalue ourselves. So yes, we cannot really, be at the moment that we can take it up. Another thing that is coming in our way is Glasscliff. Not sure, it's kind of a new thing to me as well. When I read about it, I also provided a link in there, which is kind of a management concept where when the company is in a crisis situation, they tend to put women in the leadership position for several reasons. And the whole concept is like they expect the women to fail. They want her to fail. And this is seen as a very negative thing. When women see themselves in a leadership position, they look at these cases and they feel like, oh, if we would step up, take a leadership role, we are bound to fail. And this is kind of, spreading across a wrong message, even though this is how it is designed. So what do we do about it? I mean, I understand that we are very small. We are like a small space in a big tech kind of word. So what we did was that we rolled out a survey last month, which had 11 questions, which came from different kind of backgrounds, as in asking participants about the feedback, growth opportunities, work-life balance, if they felt valued in the company, if they feel like they're being heard in the company. And obviously, we also talked about the most controversial topic, that is compensation. So we had questions about it. I think a lot of women in the room, I hope, have filled it. And we got some shocking results as well, some good results as well. So these were some of the results. It was obviously bad that only 12% of the women felt that they were valued in the company. 36% reported that they were interrupted while speaking. There was no women support group for 48% women. The healthy work environment, I know the slide is kind of, cut short, but the number is 28. So 28% women said that they had a healthy work environment in their workplaces. Feedback without personal connection with their superiors was only accessible for 16%. That's a very shocking number. We work in a company and obviously we all deserve a feedback. How do we improve? We deserve to have a healthy work environment. We deserve to have our own, space. I mean, men always had a camaraderie, like they had the provision to discuss about the issues, compete with each other, and that's how they grew. So we deserve to have that too. Moving on, I mean, thanks to COVID, of course, remote work was available for 72% women, which is a nice thing for sure. Another nice thing is that 40% of women felt it was safe to state their opinions, which is obviously a nice thing. About the growth opportunities, 32% reported that we do not see equal growth opportunities as men in the company. And about the salary part, as I said, it was controversial. So 28% women said that they are not paid equal to their male counterparts. And even more shocking was 36% people, 36% women said that we don't have the salary information available for our colleagues to answer this question. So obviously we look at the situation, looking at these results, we realize that the situation is bad. I'm not saying that it's not getting better. It is getting better, but we need to do our part. We need to do something about it. But looking at this, don't be disheartened. There have been some awesome women who were not stopped, who were not discouraged, even with this bad situation, to move forward, make a contribution, and be known for that. So to kind of complete the picture, and I would like to invite some of the women on the stage and also virtually. There are some who could not make it to the conference today, so we have them as the videos. So we would hear from the rock solid women, starting with Helen Lippel. So,
hello, I am Helen Lippel, and I am really, really honoured to have a couple of minutes to be part of the Women in Search panel at Haystack. So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm based in London, UK, and I am a taxonomy consultant. I've been independent for over a decade now. I work on all aspects of taxonomies, ontologies, controlled vocabularies, structured content, data schemas, data models, and always underpinning it is I want to make stuff easier for people, whether that's in terms of findability, content reuse, decision-making and analytics, e-commerce, other commercial applications, or just internal business processes. I've worked for charities, supermarkets, a lot of publishers, manufacturers, fintech, and I find it something that's quite transferable to different sectors. People tend to have the same problems around findability and reuse and all of that good stuff. So I'd say search is a really important part of what I've done, although I've worked across lots of different applications. And what I really like about search is you get the kind of user insight side of things, the research, the focus groups, the data, the logs, the analytics, and you can try and marry that with all the really interesting, nerdy technical stuff. Such as the config, the filters, the boosting, and trying to bring that all together and be a bridge between those different worlds is really something I find endlessly interesting. I very rarely have had a boring day in my career, as much as I've had ups and downs. So things I'm most proud of is being able to work internationally, not just here in the UK. Absolutely love doing all of that, all the travel, all the networking, trying to adapt to different circumstances. I love being part of a wider community. So I run an event called Taxonomy Bootcamp London. We do events online and maybe go back to real life one day. And I've also edited a book this year about taxonomies, which has some chapters about search. And yeah, I don't always think of myself as being a woman in tech, but I'm often quite conscious that I'm in the minority in project teams. But I really would say to people, just go for it. Just try it out. It's a really rewarding career. I think things are changing. There's a lot more understanding of that women have a lot of interest and a lot of roles to play in this field. I think we've maybe been a bit invisible in previous decades, but we've always been there. That's kind of everything. So enjoy the session, enjoy the event, and thank you very much.
Okay, well, that was not the end of the session. I would like to invite some of the women also in person. So yes, but that's really nice that you are giving applause as well. So keep them on. I would like to invite next on stage is Ella. So maybe stay here. Yeah, the microphone, yes.
Hi, Atita asked me to give a presentation about myself. So sorry, I have not mastered the public speaking, so bear with me. I'm Ela, I'm from Krakow, from Poland. I do work as a search engineer. in search engineering, we know there can be tons of different specializations. What I usually do is Elasticsearch optimization, infrastructure, and relevancy. Before I become search engineer, I was working as a backend developer, .NET Technologies, C#, but only in search domain. I really found myself, I really enjoyed it. I like my work, and I think it's really, really challenging. I work as a freelancer, and I can see in the audience a few colleagues from past and present projects, and I think we have a strong group from Poland this time in this conference. In the context of survey, it's hard to talk about that. I think it's a bit controversial. I have experienced some bad behaviors along my journey, but it's not time to talking about that. I think things are changing a bit. Why it's important to talk about it, because it's not only us as your colleagues from work, the same can happen to your sisters, spouses, significant others, your daughters maybe in the future, you don't know. So you must really pay attention. We all must pay attention how we behave. And it's not only towards the women, it's towards minorities, because we are minority and you have different minorities, gender, ethnical, and many others. So you never know with whom you'll be working. And I think that's why it's so important. And I was stressed, sorry. So that's all.
Thank you so much. So next we're going to be hearing from Moon. So Moon Lim, again, she could not make it to be here, which is why I have her on the video.
Hi, my name is Moon Lim. I'm an analytics engineer here at Superb AI. I work as a full stack engineer here, working using Python and TypeScript mainly. And most recently, I helped migrate our batch processing pipeline, data pipeline, into a near real-time analytics system using Elasticsearch as a powerful analytics engine. So actually, answering this survey helped me and a few of my coworkers reflect very carefully about what cultural aspects of our company make it maybe a little bit easier for us to contribute. And we thought one of the highlights was that when interviewing people, we take our cultural review very seriously. And during our cultural review, we try to look for people who value diversity. And we also try to look for people who understand different communication styles and who are willing to work with people with different communication styles. And I think this is foremost, very important, because I think when, let's say, we have meetings at our company, it helps build trust amongst peers, and we try to find people who don't judge other people based on their communication style or their gender or any other aspects. And to add on to that, I think foremost, most important is that when there's trust, you're not afraid to voice your opinion, because there's trust that your peers are not judging you or are not going to shut you down. And second thing I thought was that we do well is that during our meetings, many of our meeting facilitators try to give everyone an opportunity to speak. And it's not like kind of asking everyone to speak out, but giving opportunity for people who have not voiced their opinion to say, like, for example, Hyunju, do you have any thoughts to add? And this subtle gesture and kind of the manner how you do it, I think helps some other people who have had opinions but didn't speak out to have a space to speak out and express their thoughts. And I thought those are some of the aspects that help me, like both women and men here, to make more contributions. And well, thanks for listening.
Okay. So next I would like to welcome Margot. She would share some of the same thoughts. Please. Oh, please, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. How did I end up on this stage, on this conference? Okay, thank you. I'm Margot Preas. I'm a category specialist at Indie. And I started out there about 5 years ago as a category specialist. And being a former bookkeeper, I was very happy that I could contribute to the data quality of the products because, well, we all know it. You order black boots and you receive brown ones, but it's still black in the description. So as a former bookkeeper, I have a mindset that it just has to be correct. So I'm pretty particular about it. At some point in time, a colleague of mine who had a search role gave it back because he thought he could make more impact in another way. And as I already was working on findability, because search and product data quality for me is a combination with findability, I thought it would be nice to pick it up. So I did. And I've been working on search and the product data simultaneously since that time. The beauty of what I do at Indie, we work with holacracy and self-steering. So we don't have managers, we have roles. And the beauty of holacracy, for me at least, is if Indie hadn't had working by holacracy, I wouldn't have found out that maybe search was a role that would fit me. But I had the opportunity to find it out and I discovered I loved it. So that is the advantage, I think, when you compare it to a hierarchy in a company or yeah, now I'm stuck.
That's okay.
But in the hierarchy, you have to be told, or you are told what you should do and how you should do it. And with holacracy, I find I have the freedom to do my work the way I think is best, in the time frame that I think is best. And of course, I get stuck once in a while, but then I have a really amazing and supportive team behind me who can help me on. So as for the survey context, like I said, I started out as being a former bookkeeper, but I was a bookkeeper not because I wanted it, but because some other persons needed me to be. And I was good at it, but it was not my choice. And I think that if you want to be happy in your job, you have to do something that you chose yourself. So find out what you love, explore it, fail, of course, sometimes, but pursue your passion. And that way, when people are happy in their work,
Absolutely.
there is more contribute to the factory of the company they work for.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Thank you so much. So I have Luisa next with me.
Hello, my name is Luisa. I'm coming from a company called Silo AI, and I work here already for 4 years as an NLP scientist. In this recording, first of all, it's very nice to be able to share with you about my experience. And I would like to share you some of my insights that come from the semantic search project that I was working recently on. And the idea was that there were only 3 weeks left till the end of the project, and I had to implement one big feature to migrate semantic search to approximate semantic search. And one of them, and my first insight or learning, a very important help from my team, was that I was asked if I'm able to make this feature in 3 weeks. And I had the freedom to decide if I will go for it or not. And I decided really to implement this feature because I think it was very crucial for the product. And I told yes. And this way I took a responsibility on myself and decided that yes, that I will implement this feature. And it was very important for my motivation. And I understood that I really took responsibility for that. I really want to make it done. Secondly, what was very important for me is that I was also given the freedom to implement the solution and to choose the tools that I consider to be the optimal ones. And I think it really helps when you have when you know some baseline solution where you clearly know how to do that, and that thus you can estimate how much time you will spend on implementing your solution. And also, I would like to thank my colleague Dmitry Han, who is also presenting during this event, because he connected me to the relevant community in relevancy and matching tech. And with the help of this community, I was able to quickly resolve this question of what would be the optimal package to use in my case. And in a matter of 1 or 2 days, I was able to resolve my problem. So I would say that these were my main insights from the project. And I hope that some of these learnings will be helpful for you. Thanks and all the best.
Okay, next I would like to welcome Betul.
Hi, everyone. I also didn't master public speaking, and I'm nervous a little. And now I want to speak more like a student point of view also, because I just graduated from computer engineering on June. And the reason I'm here now, it's because of the contributions I made to Apache Solar. And I started last year on September. I wanted to contribute to open source, and I was working as a part-time junior software developer in a company in the search team, and they were using Apache Solar. And because of its like open source, I thought maybe I can contribute, but I just didn't know where to start. And I was thinking like, I'm still studying. I don't know much like technical knowledge. What will I do? What should I contribute? But along the way, for 1 year, I was talking some of the contributors in Apache Solar, and like we were exchanging ideas, and I was sending comments, and they were reviewing and making comments, and I was changing something. Like it was a really good experience for me. And the contributions I made, the first one is, both of them are on the admin UI. The first one is about the raw query parameters. And the second one is, I basically just created the screen where you can edit your parameter sets. And they merged it. So if you use Solar 9.0 version, you can use the contributions I made. And now I am from Turkey, but I came here from Netherlands. I am working as a research intern in Eindhoven University of Technology. And I will start working in Deloitte as a junior software developer in December. But since morning, I'm thinking like, why I didn't pursue a career in search. Like, okay, I will work as a backend, but I am very inspired by everyone here. And yeah, that's it.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
We would love to have you. I think there's one more video that I would like to include here. It's just that it was pretty last minute, and I feel like we deserve to see what she has to say.
My name is Aurora Opria, and I'm a digital trading executive at Breaks. For those of you who don't know Breaks, we are a leading supplier to the food service sector in the UK, with sister companies in Ireland, France, and Sweden. We're also part of Cisco Global, the world's leading food service business. If you run a quick search on Breaks, you will see mentioned in the bio of all our profiles across platforms that we are committed to providing our customers with outstanding service, products, and food service solutions. And our online environment is a big part of that, which is precisely where my role comes into play. This is actually a new role within the company, which I took over in April this year, with management having recognized the need to ensure a smooth shopping experience in the broader context of e-com undeniably taking over the retail market across industries. As part of the digital team, I am in charge of the commercial tools and functionalities on our e-com side, and search is one of the most important ones. This is something that my company not only recognized, but also decided to invest in by creating this role, but also by giving me the opportunity to train and learn as much as I can about search. Before this role, my background has been mostly in market research and digital marketing, so mostly about understanding the customer needs. Diving into the world of search has helped me take that understanding several steps forward and actually make sure that the customer gets what they're looking for, but also do that in a smart way, intuitive way, have search work for us instead of holding its hand or leading its way. I started from barely knowing Hybris and back office and having absolutely no understanding whatsoever of Solar. And along the way, being exposed to all these new pieces of software and platforms has awakened an appetite to learn and know more about the more technical side of search, something that has obviously been massively facilitated by my company, but it's also an endeavor that I'm keen to explore further. At the beginning of my career, I was drawn to market research because one of the things that I enjoyed at a personal level was understanding what makes people tick, the intention, the drive behind certain behaviors. And embarking on this journey on search, I have found the same pull, just that this time I'm cracking the brain of a search engine instead. And the more I learn, the more tools I have in my arsenal, the more excited I am for the next step. So this kind of stimulation of intellectual curiosity has always been a major driving factor in my career choices and projects, the ones that I've undertaken to date. And I believe in that sense with search, I have found the gift that keeps on giving.
As you might have seen and you might have heard, also observed, if might have also noticed that it was always about that first chance that was given to the person. It was always the first chance, and then you kind of click that, you can really make a difference. So I guess we would certainly be interested to know what is the solution? How can we get more of such awesome women to come forward, make more of such contributions? So possible solutions? Obviously, the first one, when you are considering to source for a role, please engage equally with the women profile as well. Please consider them equally as you would consider a man profile. Also, I think one of the other things that you might have noticed that showcasing your female employees in a leadership position not only inspires, but also make the other women who are considering to join your company to look up to them as a role model. So that's really helpful. I think there are, again, several studies. I would mention a lot of studies because I have researched a lot on this topic in last few days or few weeks, I would say, that when we create a job opening or job description and we post it on a website, more than a man, it is important for a woman to look at the salary ranges. So consider sharing them because that makes you look transparent and also gives a sense of how fair you are as an employer. Again, as we might have already seen, providing opportunities to learn and to develop the skills that we don't have to become a better professional, please do that. And obviously, we need to have a support group for reaching out to have someone to reach out to in case of confusion or some kind of, when we are hit by this imposter syndrome. And I guess a lot of us here must be managers or peers of such kind of women who are still looking or maybe considering to make a contribution. You might be wondering, like, this is very C-level stuff. Like, I'm not a HR, I'm not maybe a C-level person, or maybe not in a position to promote women in the leadership position. What is it that I can do? So yes, we have something for you as well. So to begin with, please, you need to have them take a go. You need to give them a chance. It's easier kind of said than done. You have to make a space for them to feel that they can really do it. Also, as I might have reiterated, that COVID situation, and there could be several other personal situations, please do not see them as lack of skills. A personal situation could also be with a man equally as with the women as well. And please, this is a very humble request. Get out of our way. Let us do our thing. I mean, I know, do not push us to do something when there's like critical delivery or something, but please, let us take a chance. Let us do it. We can do it. So we know we are small corner of like a very large sector, but wouldn't it be wonderful if we can show the rest of the world a way to move forward and make this a better place for all of us? So on this note, I would like to share some references of the studies that I did. And thank you. And we are open for questions if we have maybe 1 minute.
Thank you, Atita, and the women of search. So we do have a little time for questions, I think. If anyone has any questions.
Oh my God. Oh.
At the back there.
There we have it.
Hi, Tita. Great talk. I don't have a question, but I just want to recognize that it is important to share these stories, and thank you.
Wow. I'm so amazed you found it useful.
Okay, do we have another question? I'll just check online if we have anyone from the online group. I will apologize to our online attendees. We had a few audio video issues, but we will, for the videos, we'll actually cut in all the videos from the pre-recorded sections, so it will be better, as you saw us rushing about. Thank you for bearing with us. Right, let's have a look and see if we have a chat. There's some comments, and I'll just like read these out actually. Amazing history, Margot, inspiring. And this is for Betel. Love your Pram set contributions, super useful stuff. Pretty impressive to contribute to Solar for someone who just graduated. Furthermore, your public speaking is more than fine. So, inspiring session, thank you. Thank you, Atita, says Moon. And Helen Lepel says, great session. I'm so proud to have been part of that.
Amazing.
So I think if are there any more questions? Yes.
It's really not a question, but also a comment that we saw women on stage and in videos with how much modesty they present the contributions that we men sometimes oversell. Like, I've never contributed to Solar. I would sell everything to do that, right? But like, you did it. Like, come on, it's amazing. It's just amazing. Give it a round of claps, really. It's amazing.
Okay, at the back.
Firstly, thank you. And second, I have very ugly question, I guess, from, I guess, as a woman who also perceived some problems with in a career, considering of the minority, whatever. There is an opinion also in between women sometimes that there is like a problem if sometimes you're pointing out that you're like a woman in search, it stacks, like women in IT, it stacks, and then you're perceived as a different group which requires some additional treating or whatever, and it like on the other hand pushes like you back because like men in auditorium, oh, poor creatures, they're struggling so much, Jesus. Like I don't like this attention usually because I'm like, yeah, I can contribute as much as you and maybe more because I have this education and I have this path and whatever. What do you personally think about that? Like, have you noticed that sometimes it creates unwilling attention, like the people start putting you on a pity position, which you would never wanted to because you're a strong person with your own achievements?
Yep, I think that's a great question. And I would say there's a sweet spot. And I would really would like to also tell you that when we were brainstorming as to how the session should be, there was something in between, I would say, that was more hard for me, more than like tuning the relevancy parameters, like really thinking about how do I not make it more like a pitiful situation, than like coming out strong out of this entire thing that, yes, we can do it. So yes, I would say like I have been in that situation myself. Unfortunately, not the one where people are treating me with pity, mostly like in the suppressed position, which really made me how I am today. So I kind of come out as a very strong person now, because I think I've had enough of my share of like being treated like I don't know much, and I'm a woman, I'm supposed to be at home. And there have been some direct comments about it as well. So yeah, that's what I feel. Sure.
Any further questions?
That's actually not a question, but more a comment. Thank you also a lot for this talk. I think it's really necessary to also talk about social problems on technical conferences. It's very rare, but it's really good. I'm very happy that you organized it. And what I wanted to say is maybe also to the last question, I see this as more also like building a community. So yeah, you inform other people that it exists, that the problem exists, but actually a big part of all this is building a community. So
Yes.
building a safe space, and we all can just help building this. Like
Sure.
you don't have to do much just to support it. Yeah, and thank you for doing this. too.
Great. Maybe as a last comment, because I mean, we're talking about organizing the session and stuff, I would also like to thank my colleagues at OSC who have really given me that space that I can really bloom and kind of think about such things, to bringing about, creating an identity based on, these kind of events and these kind of initiatives, and bringing more women together. So thank you so much, Charlie. Thank you so much, Renee.
And for any men in the audience wanting to organize something similar, the final point in Atita's slide, get out of the way.